Hello everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel. In today's tutorial, I'll be showing you how to implement the biometric authentication in your Flutter app for Face ID and fingerprint recognition. This is a great way to add an extra layer of security and convenience for your users, and it's actually easier than you might think. So stick around and let's get started. So if you actually find this to be helpful and interesting, consider subscribing, like and share the video as well. So with that said, let's jump right in. So in my main.dat file, I've created an auth screen. That's a stateful widget with a scaffold, right? So let's install this local auth dependency that helps us with the biometric authentication. So I'll pop up my terminal over here and install that. So Flutter pop add local auth. So once you have a successful installation, when you check the passport.yaml file, you can see the local auth is being added to the dependency, right? So let's proceed with the configuration on iOS and Android, right? So with the iOS, we need to add this to the info.plist file, the key and the string. So I'll just grab that over here. So within the iOS folder, the runner folder, you can see the info.plist. So you paste it in the date file. So I'll change in the string over here. So basically, this app uses Face ID to provide a secure authentication. So you can save in the changes over here. So that's basically the setup for the iOS. So with the Android, we need to find the file name as the main activity.java or main activity.kt, any of them, and replace it with this code, right? And also add the permission to use our biometric. So in our Android folder, the app folder, the source, the main folder, the Kotlin folder comes with the main activity.kt, right? So in here we need to modify this code. So it's going to be Flutter fragment activity, right? Flutter fragment activity. So I'll just grab that over here with the import as well and replace it with the default one. So basically the main activity is going to be Flutter fragment activity. So once you have that, you need to save in the changes. And so the next step is to add the permission to use our biometric, right? So I'll just grab this permission over here. And also within the Android manifest file, you can paste it over here. So let's actually get rid of the manifest over there. There we go. So let's save in the changes over here. So we've done with the iOS and the Android setup. So within my auth screen, I'll start by creating an instance of the local authentication, right? So final local authentication, then the variable name is going to be auth. Then we initialize that. So this is the way we create an instance of the local authentication. So top we will be creating an enum, right, of the support state. So basically it's going to be an enumeration. So enum support state. So basically this will check for whether the device is supported or not, right? So you can pass in the unknown, supported, and also unsupported. So over here, I'll create a variable of support state, which is going to be of type the enum of support state, right? So support state, then the variable name is going to be support state. So initially we are going to assign it support state dot unknown. There you go. So below over here, I'll create a variable of available biometric types, right? This variable is going to hold the available biometric types, whether fingerprints or face ID or both, right? So it comes as a list. So list of biometric type. The variable name is going to be available biometric types. Sorry, available biometrics, right? So below here is going to be an init state, right? So in our init state, we are going to call an auth instance, dot is device support. So this check whether the device is supported, right, with the results, right, and the results comes as a boolean, so it's supported. So we can just set state and assign the supported value to the variable we've created over there, right? So set state, then we can just call our variable support state and assign the value of our supported, right? So, and if this is true, we're actually going to return the support state dot supported, else we are going to return the support state dot unsupported. So basically, the is device supported method checks whether the device hardware supports any form of local authentication such as fingerprint or facial recognition. Then we get a results back as a boolean, right? And the set state updates the support state variable. So that's basically it. So below that, I'm going to create a function, and this function is going to check for biometric, right? So it's going to be an asynchronous function since it's a future. The return type is a future. So in here, I'll create a variable of return type bool can check biometric. So it's going to be a late variable. Within that, we are going to have try. Let's handle the exception, and it's going to be on platform exception. It's platform exception catch. Then we handle the error over there. So in our try block, we can assign a variable can check biometric. We await and call our auth instance, which has the method can check biometric on it, right? So we can assign that value to it, and we can just print biometric supported, right? So we can just print that variable to actually know if our device supports the biometric. So that's basically it. And within our exception, you can just print the error. And we can set that to false as well. So that's basically it. Below that is also going to be another function, and this function is basically going to get us the available biometric types, right? So it actually comes as a list. So the function name is going to get available biometric. So in that, we'll be doing something similar. We'll be creating a variable, and the return type of that variable is going to be a list of biometric type. You can have a particular device that supports both Face ID and also fingerprint as well. So you can just get that list. So we'll be having a try and also a catch block, and the exception is going to be on a platform exception. So you can catch that over there. So in our try block, we can just assign our variable biometric types. So with the auth instance, we can have the method get available biometrics, right? That gets us the available biometrics. And below that, we can just print our biometric types as well. So you can see it's on the console. So on platform exception, we can actually print the error over here. So once we have that, we check if not mounted, we can actually return that. Then we can set state and assign our available biometrics the value of our biometric types. Remember, we've already created available biometric variable at the top. So this function basically gets us the available biometrics. So let's move on to the last function. So this function is basically going to authenticate our biometric, right? So the function name is going to be authenticate with biometrics. It's going to be an asynchronous function. So in that, as usual, we are going to have our try catch block, right? So it's going to be on platform exception. So in our try block, we'll be creating a variable authenticated, right? So the return type of this is going to be a boolean, right? So we await and call our auth instance, which has the method authenticate, and we need to pass in the localized reason, right? So it expects a string, so it's going to be authenticate with fingerprint or face ID. There you go. We can actually provide an additional information to this authenticate method, right? So we can pass in options, and the options comes with authentication options. You can pass in the sticky auth, can set that to true, and also can just pass biometric only to be true. So that's basically it. So below that, we can check if mounted. If not mounted, we can actually return, and if everything is okay and mounted, we can check the authenticated state variable, right? So if you're authenticated, let's actually navigate to a different page. So with the navigator material page route, you can use navigator.push. That takes in the context and also the material page route, and the material page route takes in the builder, and the builder intent takes in the function and returns a widget, right? So in here I return a home, which is not yet created. So on platform exception, we can actually print the error and also return as well. So let's proceed to create a file within our lib folder. So I'm going to name this file as the home.dat and create a stateful widget over here and name it as home and return a scaffold. So we need to import our material.dat. So within the scaffold is going to be an add bar with a title of home. So let's get rid of the cons over there. So the body of this scaffold is going to be a center widget with a test as its child, right? So the test is going to be authentication successful. So you are only going to have access to this page if you are being authenticated with the face ID or fingerprint, right? So in our auth screen, you can actually import our home over here. There you go. So that's basically it. So let's actually call this function in our init state. So we can check for biometric and also get our available biometrics as well. So let's start working within the scaffold in the authentication screen. So let's start with an add bar and provide some title to it, right? So the title is basically going to be a test widget. The test is going to be biometric authentication. So the body of this scaffold is going to be a center widget with the column as its child, right? And the column takes in the children. So actually, let's set this main as this alignment of this column to be main as this alignment of center. And this will align it at the center. And the first child of this column is going to be a test widget, right? And this test widget is going to display whether the device is supported or not. So we are going to base on the support state variable, right? We check if the support state variable is equal to support state dot supported, right? We are going to return a string with a test of biometric authentication is supported on this device. We proceed to check again if else if our support state variable is equal to support state dot unsupported, right? Let's display a different message. Actually, it's going to be the same. Biometric authentication is not supported on this device. So the default state is going to be checking for biometric support. So that's basically what we'll be displaying within this test. We are going to base on our support state and check whether our device is supported or not supported and display accordingly. So let's provide some style to this test, right? So with the test style, we can just assign it a color, right? So let's do some fancy stuff over here. The color is going to be based on, so let's provide a font weight to be bold and come to the color. So with the color, it's also going to be based on our support state, right? We want to render different colors based on our support state. So if our support state is equal to support state dot supported, the color is going to be green. So colors dot green. Else if our support state is equal to support state dot unsupported, are going to have a color of red. So the default case is going to be a gray color. So colors dot gray. There you go. So below the test is going to be a sized box with a height of 20, just to give it enough space. So below the sized box is going to be a test widget, right? So this test widget is going to display the available biometric type, right? So the test is going to display supported biometrics, right? So in here we assign it our available biometrics, right? So this is basically going to display our biometric types, and we also need to provide some spacing as well. So below that, we are going to have a row with the children, right? So in our children, the first, let's say the main axis alignment of the row to be main axis alignment dot center to align its children. And the first child of this row is going to be an image, right? And the image is going to be from my assets folder. And the name of the image is going to be face id.png. So basically, we are going to align an image and a button in the row or horizontal format. So let me actually run the app. There you go. You can see our biometric authentication is supported on this device, and the supported biometric is the facial recognition only. So I just provided an image. So let's reduce this image by providing it a width and height value of 40 and setting the fit to be boss fit.cover, right? So next to this image is going to be an elevated button. So that comes with an on press. So we are going to provide it authenticate with biometrics once the button is clicked. And the child of this button is going to be a test widget. So the child of this button is going to be a test widget displaying the test of authenticate with face ID, right? So you can actually render a different test based on the available biometric types over here, right? So let's provide some spacing over here as well. So this will be renamed to the width. So I think that's basically, let's give it a try. So first of all, you need to check the features and make sure that this is enrolled. So none can see face not recognized. So let's give it one more try and choose matching face. And there you go. We've been navigated to So let's try with the Android. You can see biometric authentication is not supported on this device. So let's fix that. So we need to go to the settings on your Android, check for security and privacy, choose device unlock, right, and choose face and fingerprint unlock. So you can go with the PIN one. So first of all, you need to create a PIN to have access to create a face or fingerprint, right? So you need to create a PIN. So once you have the PIN created, you can proceed to set up a fingerprint, right? So you can go with Face ID as well. So let's set up a fingerprint over here. So you can choose the three dots up there and choose the fingerprint on this session. So you have finger 1 up to 10. So I'll choose finger 2 and touch my sensor to activate this. So this simulates the fingerprint setup. So once we have that set up, when we reload this, you can see there you go. Our biometric authentication is now supported on this device, and you can see the available types. So you can proceed to authenticate. So when you hit on authenticate, you can see the bottom sheet requiring so touch sensor over here. So first of all, I'll go with the wrong one. You can see not recognized. So I'll choose the right one. There you go, and we have access to our home page. So that's basically it. See you in our next tutorial. Until then, stay tuned.